What is up guys, it is Ross and welcome back to another Mario Kart Wii Limitless developer commentary and vehicle showcase. In this episode, the randomizer has given us the DAYTRIPPER. A vehicle which actually has quite an interesting origin and history in the context of this mod. So, do you remember a funny mod by the name of Rebalanced? Well, in that mod, DAYTRIPPER was the meta. It was the best vehicle in the game, bar none, and it just kind of had everything, right? It had really long mini-turbos, it had sky-high handling, its drift was amazing, its acceleration was really good, its off-road was really good. Pretty much, it was just the jack of all trades, master of all. And because of this, it had quite the divisive reputation among players. Some people liked the vehicle, admittedly myself included. It was a bit of a guilty pleasure, because its sky-high mini-turbo stat made it a lot of fun to like mess around with, right? But a lot of people really fucking hated the vehicle, because it took the playstyle in a pretty uninteresting direction, right? It had the drawback of, like, low speed, but that didn't really mean anything because its mini-turbo would just directly combat that. It wasn't slow enough, if that makes sense. So in the community, in the Rebalanced community, there was, like, this kind of not-so-serious idea to basically give the DAYTRIPPER a really wide drift arc to give some much needed risk to its insanely high reward. That idea is basically what you're seeing right now. Back then it was known as the HoneyTripper because it was basically just a cross between DAYTRIPPER and Honeycoop, which had a really wide drift angle in one of Rebalanced's earlier versions. It should never have been changed, Arc. It has the really wide drift angle now, so getting those mini-turbos out is pretty awkward. You can't just squeeze them out willy-nilly anymore. You have to actually plan ahead with your lines. And this coincides with the fact that DAYTRIPPER, just going to test that out here, this is the sharpest drift that I can do. Like, this thing's drift is not that good at all, so you really have to pay attention to its lines. Its handling is really good, but it kinda needs the handling to be able to space those drifts out. To space those drifts where you want to space them. Its off-road has been nerfed to where it can no longer drift through off-road if it's in a boost. A change that we thought was healthy because there are some vehicles that do that as part of their game plans and we don't want DAYTRIPPER to like do that job for them, if that makes sense. Oh, misinput. I'm fumbling. And also, it is, like, its speed weakness is a lot more exemplified compared to other vehicles that are just regular carts, if that makes sense. What that basically means is that DAYTRIPPER will be living and dying on its mini-turbos way more, which is obviously preferable to Rebalanced, where DAYTRIPPER got to the front with its speed and then just stayed at the front with its mini-turbo. Like, that was a time to be alive, I'll say that much. The Ground Archives, this is quite a fun track to showcase this vehicle on because you can showcase how its mini-turbos matter and also how its wide drift arc can be played around. I would be able to show that if I didn't fucking drift in the wrong direction constantly. Fucking hell. So you might be thinking, Ross, DAYTRIPPER relies on its mini-turbo reserve, so doesn't that mean that it's kind of cooked whenever it's not in a mini-turbo? And in tighter packs, truthfully, yes. Its acceleration, as you saw there, nothing spectacular, it's pretty average and unremarkable. It's very low at it's very slow at lower acceleration thresholds, right? But it's very high at higher speed thresholds, so like it can rebound relatively quickly from like shocks, right? The thing about it is, though, shocks and pows and stuff, they completely cancel your mini turbo. So DAYTRIPPER kinda has to spend 2 seconds getting that back up, because charging a super mini turbo takes around 2 seconds. And a lot can happen in those 2 seconds, which is something that definitely comes into play more often than not. Like, I'd imagine the people that use this thing in competitive a lot of the time would be well acquainted with this struggle. Because the alternative to charging a super mini turbo would be to just deal with your raw speed, which, I mean, yeah, that's just not an option for DAYTRIPPER. Like, look at this thing's speed. It goes, what, 83 kmh? Yeah, that's just not that great. Ooh, ground star. Damn, nothing happened. No. I missed a shroom. Haha, there's a blue. Oh my goodness. Oh, and there's a red! Yippee! Situations like that is where DAYTRIPPER would just shit the bed. Like, when if the game's not gonna let you activate your mini turbos, you're just kind of cooked, you know? 3DS DK Jungle is quite an interesting track because it's not particularly good for vehicles like DAYTRIPPER, so I'll be able to showcase I'll be able to showcase the instances where DAYTRIPPER's low speed would leave it vulnerable in instances where it cannot get any mini turbos going. Boost ramps, I covered this in the Shooting Star video, but boost ramps are obviously pretty bad news for DAYTRIPPER because it goes slower than other vehicles, because the game multiplies vehicles' base speeds, and obviously DAYTRIPPER is the slowest kart in the game, so compared to other karts on boost panel sections, DAYTRIPPER is going to fall behind if it cannot get those mini turbo boosts off. It's a dilemma that you can work around. You can, like, on certain sections you can charge mini turbos upon landing, but you won't always have that option. And in those cases, DAYTRIPPER will have to sort of put its pack prowess to use. Speaking of pack prowess, DAYTRIPPER obviously has a lot of benefit in its handling. You can weave around a lot with its handling. That being said, its wide drift makes it vulnerable to side reds. Its reliance on mini turbos means it can be especially vulnerable in a drift because it will lose a lot from not getting a mini turbo out. And its weight, it's good, and you can bolster it with mini turbos. But like I said, that's easier said than done in a pack, and when it doesn't have that reinforcement, it's pretty underwhelming. Like, heavyweights can bully it. Okay, that's yet another first place. The CPUs don't really do so well on this track. What a bag fellow. I'm very surprised that red did not go for me. Man, I'm in first already, bro. I really need to add harder CPUs in the next update. Oh my god. Me when I want to showcase mid-pack vehicle struggles and the CPUs are just like, nuh-uh. Oh, no, I didn't want that shroom. Oh dear. The DAYTRIPPER's handling means that it can save itself pretty well in instances where your lines go awry. But obviously, since it's a mini turbo vehicle, you don't really want to abuse its handling too much, because abusing its handling means you're not abusing its drift, and obviously you want to abuse its drift to get those boosts. I'd say the wide drift angle on DAYTRIPPER has really helped it a lot. It's not so prevalent in this update, but in earlier updates, people really like this thing. Obviously, like, it being well liked is to be expected, since it was an idea. It was a vehicle concept that spawned from the community. Basically, DAYTRIPPER has been praised in the past for having, like, a high skill ceiling, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that people appreciate that. Because I always thought that there was some potential in the rebalanced DAYTRIPPER. Like, I'm happy to find out that high mini turbos and wide drift angles complement each other insanely well, and I'm happy that a lot of other people are coming to that conclusion as well. You'll love to see it. Alright, fine, I'll attempt a shortcut. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Whoa, watch the fib. Alright, and that is yet another perfect 60 GP. Ladies and gentlemen, that just about does it for this installment of Mario Kart Wii Limitless Vehicle Showcases and Developer Commentary. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to check out the previous parts if you haven't already, and check out the next parts when they come out. And until next time, that is Ross, signing out. Goodbye.